us fucking around with the.
No, no. I'll isolate just that bit there where you were just burping just now,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'll like bass boost it, and that's it. We'll just have
Yeah,
that.
sure. That was a long ass burp. All right, do
Yeah.
the intro.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 now of the Making Time for the Boys podcast. We're over the hump now, the 10-episode hump. We're here. So, of course, I'm
Oh
Zach
yeah, baby.
here with
It's a
my.
long time coming.
Oh, do we immediately get delayed?
Was that? I was wondering. You didn't.
It's a beautiful thing.
Fuck me, man. It's fucking shitty.
Wait, okay, say something.
Uh, I'm saying stuff right now,
And
baby.
I'm saying stuff right now.
Okay, there was no delay there.
Okay, we're okay. Uh, we're just plow forward. Okay, we're going.
We're gonna argue about The Last of Us 2, and it's gonna be so fucking stilted.
We're doing it live. Okay.
All right, fine.
Okay. I'm not even gonna do another intro. That's good enough. It's good enough.
No,
No.
that's all staying. It's all staying in.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so as Evan has just brought up, this is another The Last of Us 2 centered podcast. It's almost definitely going to be because I just finished it.
Yeah.
So
And Zach's probably got a lot of thoughts.
I got a
to
lot of
share with
takes.
us.
I got some takes that I know you're going to agree with. Some takes you're probably going to be like, it's okay. And some takes where you're going to completely disagree.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So.
Oh shit, dude, you're all over the board right now. You're all over the spectrum.
You know, I'm going to start by saying I did love the game. Like, I'm not going to call it perfect by any means because it's not a perfect game, but it doesn't change the fact that I loved the gameplay and I loved the story, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So let's get into it.
The story?
Yeah, let's get into it a bit. So first of all, I will admit I'm not as sold on Abby as I think maybe they wanted me to be when I finished the game.
Right.
But by the end of her bit, I'd come around to her, you know?
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be a thing where I hold against her the fact that like she's the person who killed Joel, and like I don't know if I can ever like forgive her character for that, but by the end of it I had come around to her character. Now I didn't like her more than Ellie. Ellie was still top dog in my book, but I liked her.
I find it funny that you say that, since the game tries its very best to shit on Ellie as well.
Yeah. Well, and that's where we kind of get into, I think, some ground we're going to start to agree on, because I do think that the very end of the game, that very end segment where you go to California, to Santa Barbara, and like Ellie's going to, in spoilers obviously for anyone who hasn't played, but the whole end segment where you're going there just to kill her, and you end up saving her but then fighting her but then letting her go, is convoluted. Is kind of like, I think
doesn't make any fucking sense. She was on the cross. Just fucking kill her. Do it. Fuck. Because then she lets her go, and then they drag themselves to the beach. She's just fucking following her, and then she's like, "Actually, I changed my mind. I am gonna kill you."
Right.
And at the end, it's like, but Joel played the guitar once. That she has that flashback to Joel, and she's like, "Now I'm not gonna do it, because revenge is bad."
I gotta say, the cutscene where it's Joel and Ellie talking, and Ellie's like, "I don't think I can ever forgive you, but I want to try." I had like a tear in my eye. It almost came out. Like I was like, wow, they had to save this for the end of the game to hit us extra hard with it.
I'm glad I'm glad that made you feel something. I had like a hate boner at that point because it's like, well, now you never will, Ellie. I wonder fucking why.
Yeah.
Wonder who you got to thank for that shit. Oh, that person you just fucking sail into the goddamn sunset. The
And
fucking companion.
I mean, I get the thing where, like she kind of sacrifices her relationship with Dina there in order to pursue this revenge, and it's like, well, you got your comeuppance because you got back and Dina's not there, and you can play your sad little strum with your three fingers that are left on your
It's
hand.
it's because revenge is bad,
I
Zach.
know
It's
it's
because you shouldn't
it's
get revenge. That's
it's some type of poetic
the.
justice, and I get what they're going for, but for me, I think where I would have been happy ending the game is that after Abby and Lev go through the whole thing where they attack Ellie and Jesse and Tommy and kill one of my favorite characters in the game, Jesse. I thought Jesse was
I
hilarious.
know that fucking Jesse was a fucking dude. He
Yeah,
was a bro.
he was a
He was
bro. Man was a homie.
he was an amigo, and they
Yeah.
kill him unceremoniously for no fucking reason. It kind of pissed me off
And
because they can't
something
give you anything in this goddamn game.
something I was also going to be super upset about, but I think you'll be happy to know I was angry later. Was I thought for sure she killed Tommy, and I was like, "Come on, you can't hit me with that too. You can't take out Jesse and then immediately kill Tommy in front of me." But then it's like, no, no, he survived, but now he's obsessed with revenge,
Well,
and I
but
was,
here's the thing about that. I was like, I'm fine. I was like, oh, cool, Tommy's alive. But like, first off, it doesn't even make fucking sense for Tommy to be alive. You got shot in the head.
well,
What
you
fucking
do
brain
see that
surgeon
like,
exists nowadays in the goddamn apocalypse?
well, you see that it's like
No, he's
one
dead.
of his eyes is like he doesn't have the use of one of his eyes, so obviously it's like
I
wherever
don't.
he was
I don't
shot.
really care. I don't buy it.
I mean, we don't see
I
where he was
don't think I
shot.
buy
I don't
that.
have an issue with him surviving that because we
I
don't.
saw where he was shot. I
I
saw him
mean,
shot in the head.
okay, right, but there are different places you can be shot in the head. I don't have a problem with that. You know,
I don't know. It's a
that's
bit of. I feel like there are ways you could write that scene to make that a lot more. I'm not listening. I'm gonna say it's like okay, possible, but like very very small chance of being possible because he was shot in the back of the head, and he's also laying on that fucking floor for like who knows how fucking long. And I like I don't think you could write that scene in a way to make it more believable. That's my critique of that scene. There
right.
are ways you can write it to make that a lot more believable than what they went for. But the reason and the reason I'm gonna say it's kind of just like the theme of this game for me is kind of like cheap, lazy writing because the
Hmm.
whole reason they did that was because you see him get shot in the head, you're like, oh my god, he's dead,
Right.
and that's the reason they did that.
That's the
Even
whole
if it
purpose. Yeah.
doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and that's and so you're right. They do try to like do the thing after he's like, oh, but look, he's got fucked up things with his eyes and shit. It's like
Right.
okay, but like I don't know if he's should be even alive at that point.
But my larger problem with Tommy surviving is tying back into where I would have preferred the game end would be that when you see like Dina and Ellie and like they have Dina's baby and they're happy, happy in quotation marks because Ellie has PTSD, but it's a whole nother thing. And Tommy shows up, and for me, the game could just end with them being like, "We've resolved that, like, we lost that fight, but we're gonna try and make the best of the life we have left." Like if that had been
I would be cooler with that
the
ending.
ending note, yeah. But instead, first they gotta shit on Tommy's character by being like,
I'm so fucking glad you agree with me on that. They
yeah.
turn him into a sack of shit.
Yeah, and it's really sad because you have the moment, like, it's fully understandable his everything he does up to him getting shot and the cutting to the future with Ellie and Dina, like him going after Joel's killer, him being like the way he is. That's true to his character. But then we get this moment where he's just all of a sudden like now he's the one obsessed with it, and I don't know.
Right.
I
No character from the last game is spared. this fucking wanton need to just annihilate everything they were. Like Tommy gets fucked up, Joel gets fucked up, Ellie. I mean, I don't even like her as much as I did in the first game.
Hmm.
They fucked up literally every goddamn character just to prop. It's literally the case of character assassination to prop up their new characters, i.e., Abby, and just to make them look good. That's all it is.
Now, but this is where I think we're going to have to disagree, and where we're going to start to disagree, because
Okay.
I don't think they like character assassinate everyone. It's just that, again, we're dealing, like I said last week, with a morally complex world, and I don't think they make Abby look perfect, because really the person they make look good throughout most of Abby's story is Owen, because Owen's this guy who's
Owen
he's
also cheats on his fucking
well,
wife.
you're right. I mean, I don't disagree with that, but what I'm the larger thing is he's like, he's the guy not committed to their wolf thing, and he's the guy who's like, he stops Danny from killing the one Scar because like he just felt like it was wrong. And I think what kind of the larger thing with the game is that they really try and play with the moral complexity of that world, and I think sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I think
um
their execution on that fails spectacularly because they try to do them in the most simplistic, uncomplex ways possible. The most it has to say, I believe, on the matter is these people who can do what seems like bad things, guess what? They also can do good things. And that's about it. It doesn't get more complex than that, and it has really nothing to say other than that. I don't think that's what really bothered me about the game is that one of the things is that it acted like it had something to say when really I found it just shallow. It was skin deep.
and I playing it, I didn't feel like the whole message of like revenge is bad was shoved down my throat as much as people seem to make it out to be. It's definitely the omnipresent theme. I'm not going to argue that point. But I feel like when you look at people who review it and people who talk about it, a lot of the time, if they're against the game, they're just like, God, it's at every turn. It's just getting shoveled down your throat. It's just like, I didn't feel that way. I do think that
I
there are some obvious moments where they're like, can you see the fine print? I'm holding it right in front of your face. But I don't think it's like every corner you turn, it's like, oh, here's another like revenge anecdote for you.
Well, it depends on how you define it. Like every turn, I found it to be like I guess it depends on like what you define as like shoved down your throat and such. I would say it's it's in a lot of places in the game. It doesn't even escape the gameplay as because what they try to do is the whole thing about like how revenge is bad. It's like why is revenge bad? And it's like oh because these people you're killing, guess what? They're people. They've got names, and it's like whoa really? It's like yeah guess what? In the gameplay, you kill somebody, they'll say Tom no. You killed
Right.
Tom. How dare you? He had a life. This is why revenge is bad. Like, I think it's in a lot of areas of the game. And it's even in, because it's in just the general story as well. Because not only is it about, you've got Abby and Ellie and their whole revenge fucking standoff, then you've also got Abby's wolf versus religious people things. Like, why are they fighting? It's like, oh, because they fucked with them once and they fucked with them back, and now they just fucking hate each other. It's all about revenge, dude. I think it's in a lot of areas of the game.
Right. Well, I think it's nice to explore something that the first game didn't necessarily explore as much in terms of again getting like to the complexity of the world. You're looking at like yeah the scars or the seraphites, and the wolves are like at their core they're just people trying to survive, and neither of them are necessarily doing anything offensive like the rattlers you face at the end of the game, because like those people you don't feel bad for at all at any point because they're keeping slaves and stuff like that.
I felt bad for the Rattlers.
Yeah, do you
You know why?
because you associate with them? Is that what it is? Of you?
I was gonna say because Fat Geralt, the legend himself, was the pinnacle of a man. You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
You know what Fat Geralt is?
The guy who Ellie is like, okay, if you just give me the details, you can live, and then shoots him. That guy.
Probably. I forget that scene, but I remember him as the guy who, at one point, while Abby's getting like tackled and Lev's like saying, "Oh, I'll save you, Abby," he runs in
Oh yeah, he
off,
just smacks him.
and he not only does he fucking give him a hell of a punch, Lev even smacks into a garage door
Yeah,
and falls. That was like I lost my shit
I
at
was
that scene.
so shocked.
I laughed my ass off. That was so that was so funny.
I'll tell you something cheap that The Last of Us 2 did so many times, but it got me every time, is I would be so invested in looking for things. And there's the hunter zombies that'll like be part of the wall, and then when you get too close, they like come out of the uh like mushroom growth and attack you.
Oh right.
Um, well, there was not a single time where I saw it and was like, "Oh, I'll just shoot it. I'll just shoot it and make sure," or throw something at it and make sure. Every single time, I'd just walk up to it and like it got to a point where I was like, "I know I'm about to get grabbed, but I'm not going to check." And I would get grabbed, and I was just like, "Come on, do something new, please. Give me a break."
Spare me. Spare me.
Um, but a thing I want to contest that you said last week, and that I didn't have all the details on, but now that I do, I feel even stronger about my stance last week.
Oh, no.
I don't
I know what
think
it is.
I don't think the game makes Joel out to be a monster as much as you claim that it
I
does.
believe it does. I think it makes him. Well, okay. Monster. I'm not sure if I. Maybe I should change that wording. I think it. My stance is this. I think the game, either intentionally or unintentionally, disrespects Joel's character by yes framing his actions to be at the Firefly base to be just purely like I don't know if evil is the right word, but selfish and bad and makes him look stupid and like an idiot because he refuses to explain the further context to Ellie of why he did what he did at all.
I see. I have to disagree because I don't think it makes him out to be an idiot or anything. Because in kind of my larger stance with Joel is, I think what it does is it shows you, like for part of it, it shows you the best person Joel can be with moments like at the museum, early in the game, which is like an amazing part that we talked about last week. But what I think it also shows is the character flaws that Joel has. And I think there's definitely a part of it where Ellie is pretty harsh towards Joel for his choice. But to be fair, she at this time in her life, that happening and not having any real clarity on it, and then finding out the levity of the situation, I think her reaction is fair. And by the end of it, she's kind of come to terms with it in a way. And that's why we get that scene where
But
it's
that's
like,
not because Joel doesn't help her to understand. That's what bothers me. She reacts in that way because Joel doesn't bother. He explains the situation in the worst way possible. He doesn't try to justify what because I don't think he because if you told me Joel regrets what he did, I don't fucking believe you. Of
well, he
course he's
doesn't
gonna try to
regret what he done.
justify
Well,
why
he doesn't regret what he did,
exactly. Well
though.
then he doesn't try to make her understand. That's what I'm saying. But that's the thing though, is that when she confronts him about it, he doesn't justify what he did. He doesn't explain the further context of it. He just like explains it in the worst way possible because I believe the game developers believe that's how it happened. And so she just gets pissed at him and Joel's just like, well, I guess I just kind of suck, but whatever. Like
Well,
he just
there's
takes it.
there's
Like
not much
cool
other
on Joel for just
explanation he
manning
can
up and
have,
taking
though,
it.
because because I mean, literally what
There
he
is
did was
told
an
there's
act of
no
love. And like because of the choices he made, he had to kill a bunch of people. Like that, if we break it down into what
he
its
didn't
core
bother
is.
to he didn't bother to explain He didn't bother to explain how they basically kidnapped them. He didn't bother to explain how they didn't even ask Ellie, how old was she? 13, 14, didn't even ask her if she wanted to sacrifice her life, didn't ask for her consent, didn't bother to explain how even if they did get a cure, there's no guarantee that the world is going to be saved. Even didn't bother to explain how there wasn't even a guarantee for there to be a cure. Didn't bother to explain literally fucking anything about it, about how that situation like isn't just purely like what isn't just purely him just killing people for just because he like
but
there's more to
but
it
you,
is essentially what I'm trying to
I
get
mean,
across.
I think you can say that, but I don't know if I agree, because I mean, you I
What part
think
do you disagree? You disagree with like what that the context? You disagree that even if he explained it, it wouldn't do anything.
I think the larger issue is that still when you look at his actions, the like obviously she doesn't have all the details, and things weren't ideal for how she ended up with the Fireflies. But I mean, the whole thing of the first game is that she knows she's getting taken to the Fireflies, and then I mean, if you're
She didn't
the
know she was gonna fucking die.
well, you're right about that. In the game, The Last of Us 2 even handles that. It has the whole bit where you play Abby's flashback and you see her dad talking to whatever the girl's name from the first, Marlene, I think that's her name, about the fact that like Marlene's like, well, if that was your daughter, like they wrestle with that, you know. But it doesn't change the fact that for Ellie, what it was a chance for the world to return to normal and her life to mean something, which is obviously kind of a big thing for Ellie throughout this whole game. Among her revenge quest is kind of, I think, truly coming to terms with herself through like her relationship with Dina. Um, and I think that's the thing is like for her, she's looking for some sort of meaning, and that like one of the reasons she's so upset with Joel is other than the fact that he kept it from her, which is like already breaks a certain bond of trust they had. Um, but you know, she wanted her life to mean something, and that was an opportunity for it to mean possibly the most important thing to the entire world.
I don't think. I mean, you say that oh, it was an opportunity for her life to mean something, but like I don't think it was. It's still. I can understand her being angry at Joel. I'm bothered by the fact that the game presented it in a way that makes because it to me it really comes across as them trying to change what happened to make it look like the Fireflies were just like these ultra good guys. Because you even see in those flashbacks, it's like, oh, look how cool these guys were. That guy
Well,
saved the zebra.
you you get the
And
idea
then
that her dad was a good person, but I think you also look at the fact that there's multiple dialogue sequences specifically between Owen and Abby where they talk about the fact that like, well, you know, some people would have called the Fireflies terrorists and lines like that. Like they fully recognize the fact that like the Fireflies weren't exactly seen as a that always seen as a benevolent force, you know.
but it's always mentioned in passing. It's not in those scenes where it really matters. It's not brought up. It's not brought to attention. It's not discussed. It's not like we never get that scene where they just kind of talk about it and we kind of just like see them we get to see both perspectives and we get to see we don't get that and it makes it up to me it makes it seem like they're trying to present Joel in a worse light than really what he was and they're trying to present the Fireflies in a better light than what they were in order to change the context of that final scene in The Last of Us and to make it seem and the crux of it is to make it seem like Joel deserved to die because they're trying to justify why Abby they're trying to make Abby look like oh well she deserved to kill Joel.
I don't think the message is necessarily that she deserved to kill Joel, as much as it is they're just trying to sell that she's justified, and that's not necessarily to say that like I fully agree with the justification, but I do think that the means for the justification is there. But kind of to rebut your point a bit, I think the thing is the whole end of the first game is the Joel point of view of what the Fireflies are and what that Firefly situation was, and then you have the foil to that situation being the scenes you see in The Last of Us 2. So for you as the player and the viewer, there's kind of a which version of events do you want to accept sort of thing. Like which do you align yourself more with, I think. Because I mean when you finish the first game, your thoughts are
They don't.
exactly what you had there, that they were like semi-kidnapped. Ellie doesn't have a choice. There's not even 100% sure that a cure can be found from this, and like all Joel knows is that she could die for something that won't even work, and like that's a fully acceptable point of view, and it's the point of view that the first game sells. But then you get the second game that sells this point of view of, well, this is what it's like from inside the Fireflies, where Abby's dad does have this like breakthrough moment where he's like looking at the scans and like, this is huge, this really could lead to a cure. And I think again, it's just there's a foil there for different sides of the same
Right,
coin.
but if you're trying to make it about moral complexity, it doesn't help when your game only does really present. If you're trying to make it about how there was a moral complexity to that Firefly situation, you don't do it by just presenting that one side. They don't
Well,
even my issue is that they don't even address Joel's point of view, perspective. They act like he was just in the wrong. That's my point.
but they
That's
would
why
be
that's why it's
rehashing at
annoying.
that point though, because we already
No, if it's
had
about that
a whole end of a
situation,
game.
no, if it's about that situation, they need to bring it up. It needs to be brought up. If that's part of their whole, if that's because the crux, it's essential to their message, to their theme, to the point of their game. But they don't bring it up. They don't talk about it. I don't think it's rehashing for Joel to talk about why he did what he did, and for Ellie to hear that, and for the audience to also hear that. I don't think that's rehashing, because that would also even be, it's necessary for Ellie to hear that as well.
I mean, I think in some ways that's fair, but I think in the larger scheme, in the grander scheme of things, the idea there, and the idea that I feel like works as it's presented, is that you've played through the first game and you've had the emotional journey of the first game, and you understand Joel's side going into the second game. So going into the second game, like that rehashing isn't necessary. You're already fully knowledgeable of Joel's side and attached to Joel's side of events. And so, like I
Well,
said, here's the foil.
I guess that's the crux of our disagreement. You think they do it because they don't want to rehash. I believe they do it because they only want to present that one perspective, and that they're trying to change what that situation was.
Well, I don't think we'll breach any new ground on that topic, but I do think another thing I'd like to talk about in regards to the game is we had talked about last week how Abby's story is kind of the divisive moment, because most people are kind of fine through Ellie's story, and then it's being forced to play as the murderer. People aren't too fond of that.
Right. Now, I do want to say, though, before we get into this, I don't have anything against that idea in and of itself. I think it's a rather fine idea. It can be, if executed well, it can be probably genius. My issue is that I do not think they did it very well.
Okay.
That's my stance.
And like I said earlier, by the end of it, I wasn't like an Abby super fan or anything, but I was accepting of her character, and to an extent what she had done, but playing through her part, I didn't really have many issues at all with the story or the way it played out. I did think it was funny seeing all the people that were going to die, because I think it's obvious they want you to be like, oh look, here were the people, and they are just normal people, but you killed them. Like, like that's what they're getting at. But for me, I was going through, I was just kind of like, yeah, I remember doing that to you. I remember bashing your brains in with a pipe. So
I remember killing that pregnant lady.
yeah,
That was on her though. She shouldn't have. What the fuck was she? Honestly, what the fuck was she thinking?
right.
Oh, I'm pregnant, but I'll go fight on the front lines with my fellow comrades.
Yeah.
Let's go. What
Um,
the fuck?
and I think I'm interested in the scars, and I think my biggest takeaway from Abby's section is that I wish she hadn't been the one to kill Joel, because I liked her character and I liked her story, and I was interested in the world that was built there in Seattle. The the dichotomy of the wolves versus the scars, and a lot of the things that were going on there. But her having killed Joel was just kind of a cloud that hung over her story for the whole time.
Well, the issue with that. Okay, well, finish your thing.
Well, and I was just going to say that, so for me, I almost wish that for the second game, instead of being about Joel and Joel and Ellie and Abby and all of that, that it had just been like, well, here's another perspective from the world of the Last of Us.
I think the issue, one of the biggest issues with Abby's story, the reason it doesn't work really well is because she's introduced. The first thing we really get to see her do is kill Joel, and then throughout her entire story, it's almost, I don't know if it's really ever fully addressed. She doesn't. I struggle to think of moments where she regrets what she did, where she really talks about it, where that's explored at all. I
What's
mean,
the
they
thing
mentioned
is,
it,
she doesn't regret killing Joel.
and that's sort of the thing about it. And it's part of the reason why I have trouble even liking Abby, is because a lot of times she's kind of fucking remorseless,
Right.
uh, like a fucking cold human being. It's like, Jesus Christ,
Well,
Abby.
and that is part of the struggle with her character for me as well, a little bit, and why I can't round into full form of being like, oh no, I
Right.
really like her character. Because the problem is, you get moments like her going back for Yara and Lev and helping them, in like moments of real compassion shown with Abby, and then that's juxtaposed with her walking into the cinema and brutally killing Jesse as he runs in and
Yeah. Well, and
beating the
that
shit
because,
out of
well, here's the
Tommy.
thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna compare her to Ellie, who, like, she kills that girl with the pipe, and she is fucking broken by it. She figures
Mm-hmm.
out she killed that pregnant lady, and she's even more broken. She's just so fucking destroyed by that, more like emotionally. Abby,
Right.
in contrast, fucking revels in beating Joel to death, a man
Right.
whom she doesn't really know, but knows that when even then, I mean, she know a Joel killed her dad. She doesn't even know if this was the Joel, but whatever. That's just another issue with that scene. Uh, and when she goes to the theater, uh, Ellie's like, my Dina's pregnant. She's like, good. Well, holy shit, man. She's fucking, and you brought up again moments of compassion where she goes back to love. To me, that's bad character design, because I remember seeing a moment where she's going back for Lev and the other kid, I forget their fucking name.
Yara.
And she's like, why am I, Yara? It's like, why am I doing this? And I thought, I don't know why you're doing it either. It's almost like you don't really have a reason. And the only, because it doesn't make sense for everything your character's done so far doesn't support this. But the reason you are doing it is so that way the game can have us think, oh, she's a good person, right? She's going back to save these people. That's what that comes across to me.
Right. Well, I guess what we're getting into almost is the different upbringings that Ellie had versus what Abby had. And to be fair, I think you look at that could end up being a weak argument necessarily, because of just the fact that you get early Abby versus butch super buff Abby. Which I like how the game just at a point is like, yeah, okay, she's built like an ox, like where we're just gonna call it what it is. It's strange that we made her so buff.
It
Um,
really is rather odd. It doesn't even make any sense either. I
but
like to imagine Abby just eats a fourth of the like half the rations just to keep up her Dwayne the Rock Johnson build.
yeah, early on when Manny's like, "Oh, I got 3 burritos instead of 2," it's so that Abby could in fact eat 2 of them.
It's all three of them. All three of them's for Abby, man.
I will say, I think despite problems with maybe the main characters, I really liked pretty much all the side characters, other than Mel. I didn't like Mel.
She the pregnant woman?
Yeah, she's the pregnant woman.
I didn't like Manny either. I actually I kind of laughed when
Really?
Tommy what the fuck? No, I don't like Manny.
What?
What about Manny is there to really like? What has he
He
done?
was fun. He was just fun. I mean, to be fair, he was just in like the beginning bit and helps you escape. But there's the like you find his loved in, and he has like a note from the woman he got to swoon for him the night before. I don't know. He was just a fun character. So
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad when he died or anything. I was just like, good on you, Tommy. Good shot. Uh,
Yeah, I was like Tommy think that's kind of what I was feeling during that whole Tommy section. I was like, hell yeah, Tommy,
and
kick some ass, baby.
maybe that's a larger issue than you know for in some ways than I think it is, because I'm saying I enjoyed both sections of the game and enjoyed the game overall, but a lot of my enjoyment of Abby's section, other than her story, is just being like, oh, I killed that guy, that's funny, or being like, oh, Tommy's out here destroying right now.
Right. Well, because here's my feelings about the Abby section. For the most part, I think Abby section is really, really boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's really boring. It's a stretch of time where you could spend that time exploring Abby's character, her maybe thinking, because like here's the thing, she beat a man to death with a golf club brutally.
Right.
Like, and like holy shit, that sticks with you. That brutal murder. That should be something that sticks with you. But she brushes it off really like nothing, and kind of moves on. We don't get any time with it. We don't, and because that's the thing everyone wants to kind of. That's their connection to Abby. That's the audience's connection to Abby, really.
Right.
And it's not addressed. And all we really do get is this plot about the wolves and the Seraphites, and I don't I this sounds like such a lazy argument to make, I'm aware, but I just don't give a fuck. Why should I? That's not why I care about Abby. That's not even the main plot of the game, this whole Seraphite wolf shit. I don't care about that. Why are
Right.
we spend so much time with it? And the only reason we do is because you gotta set up this fucking plot with the Seraphites and the wolves, so that way Abby can do the thing where, but I have to save the Seraphites because they're people too. I have to save these two Seraphite people, and it's just that's really just it. So they can do the whole thing instead of like, guess what, guys? Abby isn't as bad as you thought. We don't get any time with her, even what her feelings about the Joel situation was, despite that being basically, I guess, her obsession for a good chunk of her life. He doesn't seem to really talk about it. We don't get any. Uh, she doesn't even seem to think about any of the killings she commits. Honestly, like I bring back again how she was going to kill Dina. I mean, it just doesn't vibe with me.
Right.
It does not vibe.
I can understand that. I think I can see where you're coming from with that, even though it wasn't necessarily the exact same vibe I had playing that section. I'll tell you I think my main complaint coming away from the game, and even though I loved it and I loved playing it, and I'm really happy I played it, because it's probably one of my favorite games I've played this year. Um, but my biggest complaint walking away from it, and I was talking to another friend of mine about this earlier, is just that in large part, the story ends up being kind of inconsequential by Tale's End, you know,
Yeah.
because you go through all of this on both sides of the story just for nothing to really be all that resolved by the end, you know.
Yeah, other than Abby, I mean not Abby, Ellie loses basically fucking everything,
Right, right. I
you know,
mean,
in her fingers.
she'll have Tommy kind of when she tells him what
No, she
happened.
won't. I'm pretty sure she just fucking wandered off into the wilderness.
Yeah,
I mean, goddamn, this
I
is it is a rather depressing game.
yeah, and you know what? I think I mean it's what they were going for. They didn't mean for it to be like happy endings and cotton candy and lollipops. You know, they were looking for that when you picked up the game. But um, I don't know.
Well, even
I
Last of Us had some hope in it. I mean, for
oh,
fuck's sake.
I mean, you're right. You're right, and it's just a they presented a different worldview, and I do agree that I think it's there's some loss of joy that maybe we need a little bit of happiness, and I mean we get it in spurts, but most of the spurts we get are like flashbacks, so it's not present time hope, you know. I guess the only real bright spot in terms of like hope is just the fact that Jackson is still thriving. So I mean,
It exists, I
yeah,
guess, you know.
Maria's split with
All the
Tommy, so
characters all the characters we care about are basically either dead, fucked up mentally, disabled, sad and depressed. But you know Jackson's there, so you know
yeah,
what?
yeah,
It's cool.
that's all that matters. Um,
But
I do hope they just don't make another though. I want them to stop at The Last of Us 2.
they'll make I give it 50-50. I think 50 chance they won't, 50 chance they'll make a third one about Abby and Lev and no one will buy it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just I don't know what more I want. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of how I felt after finishing The Last of Us 1. Like when I finished the first game, I was like, that was a really tight, good story. I don't know if I need anything else.
Right. I agree with that totally. I think the ending was pretty much perfect.
Right.
I mean, it was just they have that conversation. And she's just like, "You sure you don't want to tell me something?" He's like, "No." She gives him this look where she's like, "I know you're. I get the feeling you're lying to me. I'm pretty sure, but you know what? I'm not going to push it." It's like,
Right.
okay, and that's how it
And
ends. And it's kind of like it's a sad event, but also, you know what? At least they kind of at the end they get to be at least like you know even if they might have given up the hope for a cure and a future without the cure, perhaps there's still hope they can be happy in this future in
right.
Zombieland.
And though we disagree, um, I felt like the story of The Last of Us 2 was good, and I, for the most part, was
Oh,
happy with how it went. And but I truly do feel like there's not many more story points you can pull from for a Last of Us game. You know?
sure. But I mean, and I think I've made my feelings about it pretty clear. I don't think it's good at all. I think it's marred by their attempts to justify Abby being a good person, but then they also shoot themselves in the foot by making her a ruthless cunt. Uh, it's a game that not only has many logical fallacies, uh, including something I didn't bring up, but I thought was really funny is their ability to kind of just teleport across the fucking country with no consequence. If you have like really fucking because you know The Last of Us was just getting from point A to B.
Right.
That's the
The
game,
whole game was you trekking across the country, and then all
and
of a sudden it's
these
like,
people go to fucking California like it ain't no fucking
right.
thing. They're going from Seattle to Jackson like
I mean,
it's just a fucking field trip.
I guess to be fair, if The Last of Us 2 was just a repeat of cross country trekking, people would be even more upset.
I'd be fine with it. Depends on because country trekking is just because that's what I think that's what a lot of people thought it was going to be. Trekking to find the person. Well, I guess it's hard to tell in retrospect what it was going to be. Though I think from trailers we all got the impression it was going to be another trek. I think to get someone or something.
Right.
Because I think really because like you know, The Last of Us, it's not just a trek. There's a story there. There's
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
So you know, if as long as the context and the story is different and interesting, you know, you can have another trek.
Um, I think for me, it would have bothered me if it was just
Really?
another cross country trek.
It
And
really would have
and
bothered
and
you?
here's the thing: I think there's a story they could have told there, and I would have been happy with that story. I'm sure.
Why would have going across the country bothered you?
Cause
That's like saying, because to me that's like saying, oh, it's Star Wars, they're fighting in space again. That bothers me. I mean, I don't.
no, because here's the thing though, is that I mean we have a whole first game already of the of the cross country trek and the building of the relationship and what goes on there. And so I'm happy that with this game that they kind of centralized the setting a little more just for a different sort of story. And I think you like sure you can bring up Star Wars and be like, oh, it's just fighting in space, but no, they I mean it's different planets and different enemies
Right,
and
you go
different
to
things
different
are going
places,
on.
and that's exactly what it could have been like in the second game if you just did another trek. Because like in the first game, they trekked and they stopped at places, and there were different people, different enemies, different events that occurred. That's exactly what it would have been like in the second game if they would have just done another trek. You go to different places, you meet different people, and you do different things.
I don't know. For me, it wasn't a problem. I would have rather had the what we got here
I mean, I'm not
than
saying
another
I'm
cross
not.
country trek.
Okay, I guess that's the disagree. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying it's a problem to do it like this. I'm just saying
Right.
if they did a trek, I don't think it's a big deal.
Hmm.
That's just. I think that's fine. I don't think it would have bothered a lot of people either.
But all in all, I would give my rating of The Last of Us 2 as like an 8 out of 10. I was pretty happy with it.
Okay.
So
Well,
yeah, there's your Last of Us 2 talking points for the week, kids. You're very welcome. I'll be writing my book soon. Um, you're you're welcome. But
well,
it's
thank you
okay.
for coming to our TED Talk.
um, but the important thing now, the thing of sheer, I mean, we're talking the biggest scale ever, is that now that I have The Last of Us 2 done, I'm starting Yakuza. Yakuza 7,
Oh wow.
it's installing right now.
Your
So
next big obsession.
I'm
Is
gonna
this the
put
one where they change the main characters and do like a weird new style,
yeah. So the new
fighting
Yakuza
style?
is pretty interesting because the Yakuza 6 ends with Kiryu Kazuma being kind of the end of his story. Um, So the new game has a new main character, a new Yakuza centered story, and new combat. And the new combat is that instead of kind of the free flow combat like you'd see in a lot of brawler type games, it's more akin to what you'd see in like some of the more recent Final Fantasy games, where you can move around um, an area, but it's kind of turn based, like semi turn based. So we'll see, because Evan, but I don't know how many people know. I'm not a huge fan of like turn-based fighters. So when I found this out, I was not particularly excited about the change because I was happy with the Yakuza formula as is, but Yakuza 7 is meant to kind of be a jumping off point for new fans to enter the Yakuza franchise. Um, so I understand why they did it so that it's fresh. But the important thing is it still has karaoke, so I'm set.
That's all it really needs,
Yeah.
honestly.
I
Is
mean,
true Yakuza.
yeah, the main draw of the Yakuza games is the side content in a way. I'm a big fan of the stories. Um, and like I don't think I've played a bad Yakuza game, so you know.
Well, I hope you like it. Uh, I think if this was just another Yakuza game, I'd probably say you are going to like it. The only thing that makes me interested is that the turn-based combat thing. I'm wondering how much it's going to affect your enjoyment of it all.
Right. I mean, I think what it's going to come down to is even if I don't care for it all that much, I'll probably push through just because it's a Yakuza story.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Because that was kind of the thing. Like when I was playing Kingdom Hearts and playing through all of those, there are certain games where I don't care for their combat at all, but I pushed through them, trudged through them just so I could get that story in.
Right, I guess you're right because I forgot you do love Kingdom Hearts a lot, and that's basically just it's not like full turn-based, but it's like sort of. turn-based.
Yeah, the combat in those games gets so strange
I
because
believe it.
I mean, well, as you know already, they have a weird control scheme for fighting, anyways.
Oh yeah, because I
Because you,
played it a bit. It was pretty
yeah,
fucking wonky.
where you got to jump with circle and attack with X, and it's like that's wrong. You, why would you ever do that? Um, but you know, I think I'll be able to get through it, and honestly, I may come to like it. Maybe it'll change my whole worldview on turn-based fighters.
I doubt that, but I hope you'll like it.
Yeah, well, you know, I think Persona 5 tried in a way to change my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's really the only one you've finished, right? Like the true turn-based game.
Now, I finished two Pokemon games,
Ah,
actually.
okay, all right, all right. But
Okay,
like
yeah.
Pokemon,
Put a
if you
little
even count
respect on my
that,
name. Come on.
everyone fucking plays Pokemon now. Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You know, one I did play that I thought was super good was I played Mario Rabbids, that game that came out for the Switch.
Really?
Here's the thing, I didn't think it would be good at all. I thought it would be trash, but I got it for Christmas and I was like, well, you know, I have a Switch. This is awesome. Honestly, one of my favorite Switch games I've played.
Seriously?
Yeah,
That big of a deal for you?
it was really fun. Because it was kind of like Valkyria Chronicles. If you ever played any of those.
Nope.
Because what it is you have like a battle map, you know, where you can see the layout of the where the enemies
Oh,
are, the
it's like you have
cover.
units.
Right, right.
It's
And
like
so
XCOM or Fire Emblem.
right, yeah. So you take like Mario with his blaster and you know its effects, and so you can position him somewhere on the field, and there's just different effects and stuff like that. And it was like the story was just like nothing better than you'd see in like Skylanders or something. It was just some throwaway story, but the gameplay was really good, and
I'll have you
really
know,
that's all that mattered.
Skylanders has some fucking deep lore. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah. You
that's
mastered the
not
Skylanders
disrespect.
lore over here.
I am the Skylanders lore master, my dude. I'll have you fucking know.
Is that a mantra you want to take on? Yeah.
Certainly, dude. Uh, I just gotta learn it. Then I'll be the Skylanders lore master.
God, can you imagine? It's like, so what did Evan do with his life? Well, he took up the good word. What's the good word? Oh, Skylanders lore. He runs a Reddit page now. That's all he's good for.
And then you know what they'd say? They'd say, "God damn, that guy's a badass." As I fucking regale you with a tale of the fall of the Archeans,
Oh, there you
because it was
go.
said that
Yeah.
the giants were the original Skylanders who banded together to fight an evil empire 10,000 years ago.
I feel like you just looked
Come
this up
on,
and you're
man.
just reading something
I'm
to
the
me
fucking
now.
Skylanders lore master.
Okay, Mr. Skylanders Lore
What?
Master or
No,
whatever.
you'd be fucking wrong. It's because I've memorized it.
God.
Ah,
Listen, have you seen the pictures of the new Sharkboy and Lavagirl show that's coming out?
what the fuck are you talking about? There's a new Sharkboy and Lavagirl show coming out?
Or it's actually a movie. It's a movie called it's like We Need Heroes or something like that. It has Pedro Pascal for some reason.
What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
We can be. What the fuck? Hold on. Hold the fuck on. How have I not fucking heard of this?
It's a pretty
Who's
big
in
deal.
this?
They weren't able to get Taylor Lautner back to play Sharkboy. So
The first thing I see is We Can Be Heroes trailer. Netflix's Sharkboy and Lavagirl 2 is pure chaos.
it's a pretty bad trailer. It's a pretty messy trailer. I mean, God.
Okay, let me see some of these images. Who the fuck is? What the fuck?
Okay,
so
the
there's a
one picture.
Is this the original?
You must
Is
be
this the
looking at
original
the one of
Sharkboy and
Sharkboy.
Lavagirl? What's up with the mask?
Okay.
Looks terrible.
Who was it? I think it might have been Chase who said this, but he said it low-key looks like a porno. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what it looks like.
It totally does. So are these the like original actors just grown up?
So the girl
They
is,
look.
but Taylor Lautner played Sharkboy, and that is not Taylor Lautner.
Oh. Why was the other guy? He's just doing too many big things now, being in Twilight and shit.
I just don't think they could offer him enough money to take that role up again. I mean, the one girl hasn't done anything since. Like
Right. So I'm sure she must be fucking gnawing at the bit to do fucking something.
right, she was like, "You want to make another one? How? Okay, $2. I'm in. I'm in. It's done."
Man, what the fuck? I haven't. I've got to watch this trailer,
Also,
man.
I should have known this, and I think it completely changes the dynamic of the debate we had in the debate cast. I guess the guy who directed Spy Kids directed Sharkboy and Lavagirl. And thinking back on it now, it makes so much sense.
Wait, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they're maybe the same people.
Well, looking back on it now, I'm like, how did I not know that?
Yeah, how? It's like because they're so fucking similar.
I know. Well, listen, if Mr. Electro isn't in the new Sharkboy and Lava Girl, we got real problems. Huge
Oh
problems.
god, there's no way he's in it. I don't even think they have the kid in it.
Well,
Wait, is the kid the guy with the beard? I'm looking at some dude with a beard and a mustache and shit, wearing
wasn't
like a
his name
vest.
Max?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's look at the names on the cast. Miss Granada, obviously. Techno, classic. Um, a crushing low. Yeah, that's what this is, a crushing low for Netflix.
Oh
Thank you, thank
damn!
you. Listen, I'll be here all
Damn!
week. All week.
Damn! Damn, man! I'm fucking wild.
Bro, I'm about to start stand-up career after that one. That one was wow.
Dude, you better watch out, my friend Zach. He's going fucking wild right now.
Wild and out here.
Okay, go on. Who else is in this shit show?
Oh no, I don't. They don't have character names listed. They just got a bunch of actors. You got to think they'd have Max and Mr. Electro.
How much more about Max is just like, well, because they got to get George Lopez. Do you think George Lopez would really fucking come back for
Come
Weekend
on,
of Heroes?
how is he making money any way
I
else?
don't fucking know. He probably made big bucks on the George Lopez show.
This was after the George Lopez show, though. Him doing Sharkboy and Lava Girl.
Really? When
It
was the
had
George
to be.
Lopez
It
show?
had to be.
Let me fucking see. George, you look up when Sharkboy and Lavagirl came out.
Okay,
George
okay, I got you.
Lopez show.
This is when we need our laptop guy to put it up
It was
there.
like Jamie, put the Jamie, look that up.
Jimmy John,
Throw it
put
up
that
there.
one up there. Okay, Sharkboy and Lava Girl came out in 2005.
Okay, George Lopez show was going on from 2002 to 2007.
Ooh. So
Yep.
he had an off year or something. And
Yeah.
went to it.
Oh wait, what? It was a fucking talk show? The hell?
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a real logistical question, and I want you to answer as honestly as you can. Okay?
Okay.
I want your gut check reaction. Okay, immediate. Snap your finger.
Okay.
Snap my finger. Okay.
All right, give it to me.
Sharkboy and Lava Girl have kids in this new movie. How did they do it?
I can only think of insemination.
Oh
Because
well,
he
you
can't.
went for the easy answer. Oh wait, no, never
Well,
mind. I thought you were just being like a roundabout way of saying it.
no. You see, because he can't stick his dick in there because
Right.
his dick will melt off. So you've got to do it using machine or some other contraption.
But you got to think, since he's a shark boy, I don't know enough about sharks and how they mate.
I don't know about shark
Because
penises, but they gotta.
fishes in
With
general just kind of like squirt it right on the eggs
right.
and that's just
Wait,
it.
what? Do
Well, yeah,
sharks lay eggs?
no, sharks don't lay eggs. I think sharks are mammals. I want to say maybe I'm wrong.
Let's look it up.
I'm
If
so
sharks lay
smart,
eggs, we
guys.
got a whole bunch of
We're
other
so
fucking
smart.
questions.
Sharks mammals.
Holy shit! There are over 500 species of shark living in the waters around the world, and the majority give birth to live young. Oh. The remainder are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs. Around 40 to 50 different shark species live permanently in or regularly visit
Don't
the
worry,
waters
Ed. I'm
surrounding
about to
Britain.
hit you with the details, okay? Male sharks have paired reproductive organs called claspers. Okay, and the female sharks have a cloaca. Okay,
Oh, ew.
so
Yeah, look,
okay, it's just normal. It's just like,
those claspers are not fucking normal.
well, okay, I mean you're right about
They're
that, but
like
like,
fucking prongs. Look at those
I
prongs.
don't want to look at it. I don't want to look
How do
up
you
claspers.
like it's like a fucking plug.
Okay, so does that
You
mean
know,
Shark
you plug,
Boy?
plug.
Now we have real questions. These are the pressing questions that have to be answered.
Uh,
Okay.
well, okay, it doesn't even matter to a degree though, because it's my theory. It wouldn't matter because he can't stick his dick in there; it'll melt off.
You're
So he
right,
has to.
but
He's got to just squirt it into a cup.
but how would she even get that in there? It would just melt. Anything that got
No,
close
no.
would just melt.
I mean, not everything, because like if everything melted, she wouldn't be able to even like fucking walk or like touch people. You just gotta like. Well, then again, like once the egg is introduced, like not the eggs, the sperm is introduced. How does that not just melt inside, like die inside?
Exactly.
But then you also have this question. But here's the thing that brings up another question: what are her insides like? Is that human?
Oh, oh my God.
Because like if she's like lava, how do her insides not just burn up inside? And you remember, there's that scene in Sharkboy and Lavagirl where she turns into a liquid. Remember
Right.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just her head. So that means to a degree she does not have any reproductive organs, which means that those are not her kids because she physically
Okay.
cannot have it.
Wait. I have it figured out. So we know that Shark Boy can water bend, at least kind of, right? So if we
Right.
stretch that a bit, he can liquid bend. Are you
Okay.
following me?
I think. You think he was a cockbender?
She can turn into a liquid, as you just pointed out. So if he just, used his bending skills a bit, there might be some way there.
You think he might have like how would he do that? Would he just like use his bending abilities to like bend ovaries for her to, procreate? How does she eat? Does she have a stomach?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she eats something in.
But then, like,
Hmm.
how can she do that? But then also like have her entire body turn into goo?
Okay, yeah, we're getting into weird superhero question territory in general then, though.
I have a theory that she just eats and then it falls in, but it's just lava and it just burns up.
She's just like an active volcano in her stomach.
Yeah, I don't even think she needs to breathe. It's just a fucking act. It's just an
God.
act.
Do you
Yeah,
remember
but
Do you remember that moment in Shark Boy and Lava Girl where Shark Boy is stuck in under the ice with eels, so Lava Girl dives in to save him, but then he has to run her to a volcano afterwards to revive her, and he
yeah,
runs at like flash speed.
and he throws her in.
Yeah, he Lord of the Rings her right into the volcano.
I do like the thought that Shark Boy's a cockbender because he can bend the liquids.
Well, also, this is okay. We're getting into weird territory if I continue. So, do you want me to continue?
I'm always up for some weird territory.
Okay, we already know
I'm the weird pioneer.
we already know his fin is sensitive.
Oh fuck.
Do you think that's part of their?
The play?
Yeah,
I don't know.
because
I mean, I
the one
guess.
part is his fin gets bent and he's like, "Ow, my fin!" So he can obviously feel it.
Well, here's something we gotta check because here's something that's also we might need to see. I gotta look up a picture because okay, is Lava Girl? Is she just okay? I guess she is wearing. Okay, wait. How much of that is she just? Is it like a suit or is that literally her?
I
Where
don't
she's got
know.
the fucking magma on
Well,
her.
because when she turns to liquid, it includes the suit.
Right.
We've entered
So
another
is that just
level, Evan. We've ascended in this conversation. Listen, screw talking about The Last of Us ever again. We are a Sharkboy and Lavagirl only podcast now.
we're sure? Listen, the people need to know these are the theories that are fucking important. It's like God, because this whole fucking Lava Girl thing is so much more interesting. Honestly,
You know what's
like
more distressing in our conversation here is that the new costume, more of her body is covered in lava than in the original costume.
I gotta see. Yeah, you're
So,
right.
so
Oh God, it looks fucking wrong.
yeah,
It looks like look at it like
I
look
know.
around
I'm
like the
looking at it
area
right
of
now.
like when you really look at it, it looks fucking wrong. It looks like she shouldn't even be like in one piece. How the fuck? That looks terrible. Oh my God, that's fucking awful. Holy shit.
I need to know how they had children. It's so it doesn't make any sense.
Well, Zach, I can help you out with that.
Why does he have an
Go to
H on his belt? Shark
he's
Boy? Why wouldn't it be an S?
it's H for no,
For
that's not an A. That's not an H. Those
you're gonna go full Man of Steel on me here?
that's the
It's not an
symbol for
S.
his prongs, for his
Oh
claspers.
my god. God, he's it's a
What does
signal
the S stand for?
to all the women, you know.
You know what I like? You know what my favorite joke about that is?
You know what?
They're like, what does the S stand for? He's like, sex offender.
What I okay, and so we see in the trailer that Shark Boy's daughter has waterbending powers.
What?
So yeah, yeah. I have so many questions. What if, okay, hear me out here. This is just a theory, but it is a game theory. Okay? You're gonna hear me out here.
Okay. All right.
What if the plot twist of the movie is that the villain is Mr. Electric's kid? To think it through.
Oh, you mean the girl?
No. The villain of the new movie. Whoever the villain is.
No, yeah, but the girl. No, the girl was Mr. Electric's daughter.
Oh, you're right though. Oh. Oh. You foiled any oh, I hate that. Okay, wait. What was the name of the kid? It was
Linus.
Linus. It could be Linus's kid.
Oh my fucking God, that's totally what they probably do.
But
I like how I said
I
that. That's
wanted
totally what they'll probably do.
I wanted to get to the funny of how would Mr. Electric have a kid?
Okay,
Is it just
I
like
think he
a
might just be a. I
is it
think
just
he's
like
just
a USB
asexual.
port? Like just plugs into something else and just spits out a
I don't. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't even have a dick. He's just a ball. He just. I think he literally just builds his children.
and Lava Girl's just lava, but her and Shark Boy found a way. You know
Fuck,
what?
that's a good point.
It's like what they said in Jurassic Park from our good friend what's his character's name? It's Jeff Goldblum's character in Jurassic Park. Life finds a way. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Jeff Goldblum is pretty much my lord and savior. So I guess if he would know anything about that, I should believe him. Every image I'm looking up about their daughter, by the way, makes her look like a fucking autist. She looks terrible.
God. It's so good that they couldn't offer
I like because she's
Tijuana
wearing
enough
fucking.
money.
I shouldn't make fun of a kid.
Yeah, no, this is
That's
dangerous
hilarious.
territory,
Yeah.
Ev. You're going in.
Well, I don't want to. I was gonna make fun of what she's wearing, but I was like, she's like 5.
Yeah. Yeah. How much do you think they had to pay Pedro Pascal to be in what's going to be an awful movie?
Nothing. I think he was like Sharkboy and Lavagirl. Fucking sign me up, baby.
He was like, I can show my face. Yeah, I'm in. Done.
Dude, I can show. Dude, sick. Finally.
Have you been watching The Mandalorian?
I've watched the first episode of season 2. I haven't watched anything else though.
What was your
'Cause
opinion?
I've been busy. I watched it last night. I was okay. So I'm gonna present. I think it was fun, but I was also kind of disappointed.
Yeah, we agree. We agree.
Because I wanted like a plot thing, but then it really wasn't. And if I'm being, you're gonna, I always hate saying shit like this because I think I sound like anal and like hard to please. But I think the story was like kind of stupid in a way too. It wasn't what I would have picked for that, but and I don't know how I felt about because well, and I think I feel better about it now. But when it was first happened, when the guy coming in with Boba Fett's armor happened, and then he was like, I found it on a fucking Jawa junk trailer. It's like, so wait, is he dead? Is Boba Fett just fucking dead now?
Right.
Uh, I was a bit like that kind of fucking sucks, but I don't think he's dead anymore. I think that might have just been uh, a trick.
Well, you watched the end of the first episode, didn't you?
Right. Well, I kind of looked up some shit. Is like, so is Boba Fett dead? And he's like, oh, I guess he's Boba Fett. Which I don't know. That's probably a spoiler, but it's whatevs. Uh,
Wait, I'm confused now by what you're saying.
what?
You finished the first episode, right? Before I say
Yeah,
this, yeah.
yeah.
Well, you know Boba's the guy at the very end, right?
Well, I didn't know that when I first saw it,
Oh,
but then
okay,
when I
okay.
looked up afterwards, I looked up and it said, so is Boba Fett dead? And then it said like, oh, he's Boba Fett. It's oh, I see.
Right,
Because
right.
I
Okay.
didn't know that. I was like, because if he was dead, I was gonna be like, well, that kind of sucks. I'm not a huge Boba Fett fan, anyways, but I think
Right.
that's kind of a shitty way to go with it.
This is some what I'm going to talk about now is kind of a larger thing I've been like talking to my family about with the Mandalorian. Is the Mandalorian is very obviously now walking a tightrope of still being welcoming to people who aren't hardcore Star Wars fans while pleasing those of us who are. Cause for
Mhm.
example, the guy they have playing Boba Fett is the same guy who played Jango in the prequels. So
Yeah.
that's supposed to be how you make that immediate um,
Oh,
identification is that Boba's a
I see.
clone. So
Right. Yeah, I'm not that. I'm not that. I don't have that. I'm not that into the prequels to know that shit. So I guess that
right.
makes sense.
Well, and so I think because there's I don't want to spoil anything for you. So all and I for anyone who's listening, so all I'll say is like Clone Wars knowledge and Rebels knowledge helps a lot watching The Mandalorian because Dave Filoni has wrote for all three, so he's including stuff from those two shows in The Mandalorian.
Damn. Didn't know I need to fucking do my homework before I watch the fucking Mandalorian.
Listen, you can be Mr. Skylanders lore out here, but I'm Mr. Star Wars lore. Okay.
I guess you're right. You got me on
Uh,
that one.
for a second there,
But
you
yeah, I was like, eh. Oh, sorry.
were delayed.
But are we fucking up right now?
Yeah, we're delayed.
Are we delayed?
Yeah, yeah, we're delayed.
Ah, fuck me.
We made it
We
so
should have just
far
ended the
too.
podcast. We should have just ended while we were ahead.
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
God, that was like a 3-second delay.
That's shit.
Um.
Uh,
Well,
all right, all right. Do we just cut our losses? Should we just say like, yeah, sorry, folks, technical difficulties. Fuck
maybe,
off. It just
maybe
ended.
are you want to say that exactly? Just like
How long is this? Yeah. Well, how long has this podcast been going on for at this point?
we're about an hour now.
How long
We're
have you been
probably
timing it? Have I been timing? All
I
right.
I glanced at the clock when we started. It was like 9:40 ish somewhere in or 8:40 ish somewhere in there.
Okay, so we're a bit over an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well then, how about we just end it off here? Uh, well, before technical difficulties get even worse. So
Yeah. Bye.
yeah, see you later, bitches.